So today we're working on cleaning up the rear suspension. So that's what that one looks like. That's what it looks like now. Just kind of grind this stuff away. I'll put some rust converter on it and then we'll spray it. So there we go. Well, I went to power wash the suspension and my power washer doesn't work now. I don't know why, but I flipped it over, ground it down a little bit more and cleaned it up. I was switching it off with the hose and then the sky just decided to open up. So luckily I got it all cleaned off. I was just getting ready to rinse it off, and I think it's ready for paint. So well, I got to tape some stuff up and whatnot, but yeah, I think that's pretty much ready for paint. All right, so we got the suspension cleaned up as best we can, as best I'm going to do it. I'm not 100% worried. I just wanted to get a little cleaner. It's humid out, but it's summer in St. Louis. It's going to be humid every day, so we're just going to paint it and hope for the best and just put a fan on it and let it dry, and then we'll do a couple of light coats on it. We'll see how it turns out. All right, first coat is on. Looks much nicer. Not perfect, but hey, you know what? I'm not going for perfect. I'm just going for nicer. It's not a show car. So we'll let this dry. It's probably going to take a few hours to dry today with this being as humid as it is. But all in all, I think it looks much, much nicer. All right, and the suspension is all done as well. So it came out really nice. I mean, it looks much better. And if you'll notice, I got this side back on as well. So I had, if you remember, let me change my light here so I can get a little closer. So if you remember, this was the one that the bolt seized in. It was on that side of the car. And the bolt seized inside. So, yeah, I got that on. So this right here was a little tricky. I couldn't figure out how to get that on and get it straight, because, you know, you have this one on this side. I'm like, okay, it's, you know, it's in there for the most part, straight-ish. And I was struggling getting it lined up because I had knocked this on all the way. So what I ended up doing was I knocked this backwards a little bit, put it through here, and got it into that hole, instead of trying to get it all lined up while it's basically almost right next to it. So that made it a lot easier. And then I took off this on this one, and I'm just using the one that was on the other side, because it looks like they're the same part. They don't look different at all, and it looks like everything kind of lines up the same way. And the reason being is this one was really loose on there, so I could wiggle this and everything, and basically when I knocked it out, it just fell apart on me. Now I don't know if that really matters, because I think this is up against the car, and then the suspension is pushing up against this, I think. So I don't think that matters per se, but the other one was solid, this one was loose, so I just felt better doing that. So outside time is done for today. I'm going to go in and work on that head a little bit. But yeah, this turned out really nice. Looks much, much nicer. I didn't paint the aluminum. I'm not worried about that, but yeah, that came out really nice. Well, today was a hard day, but there's something else on the car. Oh, the suspension is back up on the car. It was not easy doing that myself. Got everything in except for these bolts on both sides. It'll go in, but it doesn't come out the other side. Both sides are the same way, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to work on that. But that bolt's in, those bolts are in, the shock bolt is in. So it's up, it's not going anywhere. But yep. So that was today's job. That was a big job. I'm tired. So we are going to clean up. And I don't know, I might piddle around in the basement a little bit. And cleaning some stuff up. I'm still waiting on the drill bits to come. Try to get that out. But I forgot, this is the back of the cam. So I need to polish that up. And then valves and everything ready to go back in. So slowly but surely, just start putting it back together and hopefully get it running. This is my only concern. I'm just really worried about that. It's just going to be a real shame, but we'll get it figured out. We're not going to give up. And then hopefully get it up and running again. It's going to be tough to find some time, but I will find time. I just don't want to give up on this car. I enjoy working on it, and there is a satisfaction to it. But it just becomes, if I can't figure that out, then, then it just becomes financially, it's just not reasonable. I mean, I'll learn to work on this car. It was only $750, so, I'll learn how to weld, and I'll learn how to work on the engine and all of that stuff. And if that stuff like that happens, it's not the end of the world, but all the parts and everything I bought, I'm in it for a little bit of money, but I can always take those parts off too. So, all right, so and the head's cleaned up and it looks nice, but we're going to try to work on doing that and seeing if we can get it to be something like that. So that's the goal. That's where we're starting. I don't know if this will clean up as nice as the other, but we'll see. We'll get on and see how we do on this. See how we can get it cleaned up. Well, there we are, all shined up. Came out pretty good. So, I'm happy with it, and I wanted to show those exhaust ports down in there. Let's see if I can get some. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any light really down in there. But you can see they're pretty clean. There was just some extra brake cleaner or carbon choke cleaner, whatever. So I am happy with those and how those turned out. So, Alexa, what time is it?
It's 4:21 p.m.
So the head sanding and polishing took about 2 hours. So once again, what I used was just some aluminum polish. And these are different grit. So the highest was 400. So I did 120, 180, 320, 400. And then I just used some polishing wheels and microfiber cloths. And just a little bit of time. It wasn't hard. Just take some time and hot summer afternoon and work down in the basement. Not too bad. So now I got to rebuild the head. So I've got everything. I got everything that I need to rebuild the head. Actually, I don't. I'm waiting on some Scotch-Brite pads and some wet sandpaper because I'm going to clean the intake valves when I do that. So that stuff is supposed to be here today. So today is done. I'm done for the day. Also supposed to get the extractor kit. So I'm thinking maybe tomorrow I'm going to try to tackle that bolt. But I don't know. I'm just so terrified of it. I just don't want to ruin my whole week. But it's got to get done. So there's everything all polished up. It's as good as it's going to get. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to paint it. I think I'm just going to leave it. All assuming I can get that bolt out and get that head back on. So, yeah. So I think that's going to be it for a little while, since I got to go back to work, and it's going to be tough to find time, but we'll try.